Welcome everybody to today's information session. We'll get started in a few minutes. Thank you for joining us today. All right, Elmer, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Looks like a lot of people have already
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So hello and welcome everyone to today's information session with the United States Secret Service. I'm LaVonda Taylor. I'm your host for today's session. As an employer outreach specialist here at the University of Arizona Global Campus, I'm thrilled to have you all join us as we explore the exciting career opportunities with the United States Secret Service. And before we dive in, I just want to take a quick second to go over some housekeeping items. First, this session is being recorded, and for those of you that have registered, you will receive the recording via email in the next few days. Throughout the presentation, we will be answering your questions, so please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen to either submit them with your name or anonymously. And please feel free to engage with us in the chat. We're here to help you, and we'll do our best to answer as many questions as possible during and after the presentation. If you encounter any technical difficulties, we suggest trying to log out of Zoom and then logging back in. So now, without further ado, I want to introduce our guest today. Our employer of the day is Elmer Pegarin. He is a talent acquisition specialist for the U.S. Secret Service, and with a distinguished 22-year career in the U.S. Marine Corps, Elmer now leads recruitment and outreach efforts for the military and Asian American Pacific Island programs in the Secret Service. So Elmer, I just thank you for joining us today and for sharing your insight. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the floor over to you now.
Okay. Thank you for the warm welcome, LaVonda. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you very much. And also Miss Rebecca, and I know Warner's not here today, but thank you all. So real quick, before I start sharing my screen, quick intro. Well, I'll actually start sharing and talk and provide a quick intro on what I do. So my job is a talent acquisition specialist for the Secret Service. Let me see here. I'm trying to share my screen. Hold on. Okay. Let's make sure you can see my screen first. Can you all see my screen?
Elmer, we can see your screen, but it's not in display mode, so we can see your entire slide deck.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Perfection.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so real quick, my name is Elmer. I'm a recruiter for the Secret Service, just like LaVonda stated. So, my background, I'm not an agent, I'm not an officer, but I am a recruiter. I've been recruiting now for the Secret Service for about 6.5 years. I actually just came back from a trip from Fort Liberty, doing a couple days Fort Liberty recruiting there. So I know we have a mix of students, military spouses, and veterans on the call today. So for those with any type of military affiliation, we thank you for your service. So today, and again, thank you for the opportunity. But today we're going to talk about the three career paths that we primarily have: special agent, uniform division, and the administrative professional technical staff. So for me, my job in Secret Service I fall under the APT, admin professional technical, which is basically the mission support. We'll briefly touch on the veteran piece. We'll talk about the benefits. Definitely talk about the application process. Give you some pointers about resume reviews and things of that nature, and then we'll go over questions. So if you didn't know, the Secret Service was founded during the Civil War, where a third of the nation's currency was counterfeit money. All right, a third of the nation's money was counterfeit money. And between 1865 and 1901, 3 presidents were assassinated. And that's where the dual mission came into play. So as you see bolded on the screen there, investigation and protection, that is to this day still our mission. We have over 150 offices worldwide, with majority of our offices in the DC area. So a couple of highlights. Again, obviously, we know this is campaign season, so our staff is going to be definitely busy with the election year. But some of the key points I like to bring up for fiscal year 2023, we had 33 protectees. We had over 7,000 protective intelligence investigations, over 10 million small business administration loan fraud seized, 41 million loss prevented in pandemic-related investigations, over 1 billion in cyber financial loss recovered. So that's just a few of the things that you probably don't hear about every day. But again, we still investigate financial crime, and of course, what we see on the news, which is protecting the leaders of the free world. All right. We are primarily based in Washington, D.C., but we have offices throughout the world. Okay, so again, we are 2/3 law enforcement. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to speak more so on the special agents and the uniform division position. The first one we're going to talk about today is the uniform division officer. This position is only located in Washington, D.C. So I know this is the global campus, it could be anywhere, but let's just say, for example, you're in Phoenix. The Secret Service will pay for your relocation from Phoenix, hometown USA, to the nation's capital. We would recommend you live in Virginia or Maryland and commute to Washington, D.C. for work. The guys and gals in this position here, they again protect the White House, Vice President's residence, and the Foreign Missions Branch, which is all the embassies in the D.C. area. After about 18 months or so of doing that, you could apply for other positions, SOD, Special Operations Division. You could volunteer, or you could, again, after 18 months, apply to be part of the emergency response team. That's basically SWAT for the White House. You could apply to be part of counter sniper team. You could apply to be K9. One of our recruiters on our team today was K9 for 12 years. When his dog retired before he did, he had the option to keep the Mal, his dog, K9. He was EOD K9, but he was able to keep the dog, and which he calls free home security. All right. So again, but while you're in operational status with K9, you have a take-home vehicle, you have a gas card, and you're able to commute to and from, obviously, to work. And obviously, the special modifications allow that for your partner that you'll have, whether you're EOD K9 or K9 at the White House or things of that nature. Magnetometers, if you are part of the MAG team, you will travel with the president or protectee, and you would obviously conduct the magnetometers, kind of like similar to when you go to the airport, but you're doing it at the site locations where the president is at, the vice president, former president, things of that nature. Other specialized assignments could include recruitment, like what we do, could also include motorcade. So imagine having possibly a take-home Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and obviously leading the motorcade, the beast of the leader of the free world. So a lot of different things. You don't just have to do uniform division as far as protecting it is protecting the external facility of the White House, Vice President's residence. But again, there's other things you can do, whether special operations. I know I talked about the motorcade, and you having the Harley Davidson, but we also have trek bikes. You could be conducting patrols around the White House. So a lot of different things you can do as a uniform division officer. Definitely a great career. The next one we're going to talk about is the special agent criminal investigator. So if you ever hear anyone say special agent criminal investigator, please know and understand that is the same position. They do protection and investigations throughout their career. So the first phase of your career, you will conduct investigations, kind of similar to what we talked about earlier. You know, anything from the card skimming, COVID-19 scams, targeting elderly, things of that nature. You will investigate that for your first 3 to 5 years. So let's just say, for example, you start your career in Phoenix. The good thing is you will know where you're starting before you accept the final offer. So for my military folks on here, you know, there's a lot of travel and adventure. You don't know where you're going. You have to go through training, graduate, then you find out where you're going, which field office you'll be assigned to. For us, you will know where you're going before you accept your final offer. So whether you like the place, or we maybe poke a few holes into your dreams, you'll know where you're going before you accept the final offer. Great. And again, if it's Phoenix, LA, New York, Miami, Houston, we'll definitely try to get you accommodate, but no one understands it'll also be needs of the Secret Service. All right, but you will know where you're going before you accept your final offer. Now, during that first phase, let's say you're doing your investigations, and this is campaign season. If needed, your investigation will get put on hold, and then you will conduct protection with presidential candidate so-and-so for a week or two, and then go back to your investigation. All right, so that will be your first phase, again, first 3 to 5 years. That first phase will be on the applicant. So again, we'll try to assign you where you are, because that first move will be on you. For the second phase and third phase, that move, the Secret Service will pay for. But that second phase, more than likely, that 6 to 8 years, will be done in the Washington, D.C. area, more than likely in D.C. So you will be on the president's detail, the vice president's detail, or there could be an option where you're on the vice president or a former president's detail, such as President Bush in Texas. President Obama is in D.C., but if he ever goes to Hawaii for a week or two, you two go to Hawaii. If you get assigned to President Trump, you'll obviously be in Florida. President Carter, he's in Georgia. So it all depends on where you're located at, or what your assignment is. It'll more than likely be D.C., but you could be assigned to a former president. Phase 3 will vary until you retire. Those options, you might be able to go overseas and conduct investigations in our field office in London, Rome, Frankfurt, South Africa. You could be in Hawaii and cover the whole Far East, from Thailand, India. I mean, great opportunities to be part of history and definitely see the world. So again, that's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. Phase 1 will be on the applicant as far as moving there, but we will do the best we can to get you there to the site or to the local field office of your choice. Second and third phase will be paid for by the Secret Service. All right. Other duties you could do: specialty teams, counter assault team. That is going to take place if you opt to do that during your second phase under the protection. So we talked about uniform division, their emergency response, that's SWAT for the White House. CAT would be SWAT for the president. All right. We also have polygraphers conducting polygraphs, obviously on brand new applicants, or even obviously criminals. Electronic crime special agent program. Obviously, we protect the financial infrastructure, so you will have received training on that. Recruiting, hammer, hazmat. So there's a lot of different things you can do, but the primary mission of an agent is to investigate financial crime, and then obviously conduct the protection. Training for agents and officers will be total of 6 months long. Special agents will only go to Glencoe, Georgia. Uniform division officers will go to Glencoe, Georgia, or Artesia, New Mexico. And that will be 13 weeks on, where you're basically learning the FLETC, Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. So you're learning, as states are legal, firearms, physical fitness, driving, handcuffing, and things of that nature. All right. Every federal law enforcement officer attends this training. The next step after that will be the actual school. So you will then split up into the respective groups. Agents will train in Beltsville, Maryland, right outside of DC. Agents will go for 18 weeks, and officers will go for 16 weeks. So in total, roughly about 6 months long for both. And yes, you will receive pay while you're in training. Physical fitness standards, I'll pause here. The next slide, you'll see the age requirements for our law enforcement positions. And this one shows the requirements for 20 to 29-year-old. I want to make a point here. We trust you, but we definitely want to validate you to set you up for success. Physical fitness standards. During the hiring process, you will have to conduct the APAT. The APAT stands for Applicant Physical Abilities Test. And in the hiring process, you have to do the push-ups, the sit-ups, the 1.5 mile run, and then an agility run, kind of doing sprints side to side, things of that nature. The chin-ups will not be required until you get down to training. And by the time you graduate training, you must be able to complete the chin-ups. All right. So again, we trust you. We just want to validate you to set you up for success. And again, you will have to do 4 of the items, well, 3 there, and then the agility run that's not listed there in the hiring process. All right. So it's not. I mean, it's if you look at the amount or the quantity of sit-ups, push-ups, and 1.5 mile from the time, it is doable. All right. As they say in the Army, it's too easy. Okay, these are the basic eligibility requirements, ladies and gentlemen. For the most part, most, if not all, positions in the Secret Service requires a top secret clearance. And with that, U.S. citizenship is a requirement. You must have a driver's license, no visible body markings, meaning no tattoos on the hands, neck, or face. The only tattoo that is waivable is a wedding band tattoo. The age requirements for the Great Fine American, 20 to 37 or 21 to 37. 20 to 37 is for uniform, and special agents is 21 to 37. You must receive your conditional offer before your 37th birthday. And if you are a veteran with preference, you must receive your conditional offer before the age of 40. So for veterans, you just have a few more years to get into this career path. Education, uniform division. Please note, 80% of our officers have degrees, but a degree is not required. 80% have degrees, but a degree is not required. Special agent, we highly recommend the 4-year degree. The degree could be in anything. It doesn't have to be in criminal justice. It could be just as long as it's from an accredited institution, a 4-year degree will suffice. And we also recommend at least 3 years of professional experience. All right, you have to pass an exam for uniform division and special agent, be in excellent health and physical condition. Vision cannot be any worse than 2100, and you have to be able to qualify for a top secret clearance. If you were in the military or you're a civilian with a clearance, we appreciate that. That means that your clearance could go a little quicker, but we would still have to redo a portion, if not all, of your clearance. All right, we do not reciprocate, so your clearance will have to be ran by us. All right. So the next thing I'd like to talk about is the STAR program. The STAR program basically is a special agent. All right. So the STAR program is, let's just call this our entry level, our recent graduate program for a special agent. If I have any students here today that are about to graduate or in their last semester, right here, they're in your last semester, a little box right there, or a recent graduate within the last 2 years, and you have a 3.0 GPA, you could apply to our recent graduate special agent program and be assigned to one of the 6 locations there in that yellow color: Atlanta, Chicago, New York, Houston, LA, and Washington, DC. So this position here will be, again, you could apply in your last semester. So if we're counting this year, May 2024, if you were graduating in May 2024, because your last semester with 3.0 GPA, you could apply to this job with basically no work experience and at least a 3.0 GPA. A great opportunity. I can't stress that enough. Let me kind of go back here to this here. So the uniform division, and I said earlier, 80% of our officers have 4-year degrees. So the STAR program was started December of 2022, and we don't know when it's going to go away, but it could go away soon. So initially, our uniformed officers, they would go uniform division first for about 3 years or so, and then internally switch over to become a special agent, because you see the requirement for a special agent is a 3-year degree or a 4-year degree and 3 years of experience. But now with the STAR program, you could apply directly to special agent with just a 4-year degree, or obviously about to graduate with a 4-year degree. I can't stress enough, a great opportunity if this is what you want to do. Not to take away from the uniform division. The uniform division, also a great opportunity, and that will bring you obviously to the nation's capital. With that position is only in Washington, D.C., but again, another great opportunity. All right, so again, I don't want things to get confused. The STAR program is a special agent. You'll just be considered for the pay grade GL7, which is the entry-level pay grade for the special agent program. All right, next we'll talk about positions for the guys and gals that might be like me. When I retired from the Marine Corps, I was over 40, so I missed the opportunity to apply. If I was 39, I could apply to SA or UD, but the fact when I actually started looking for work, I was already 40 years old, so I no longer was able to apply to the gun carrier positions, which is A-okay. So I do the mission support, and we in the Secret Service have administrative, professional, technical positions, and listed there on the left is more so our headquarter positions, Washington, D.C., and our common field office positions, primarily going to be that administrative officer. These positions are going to be located on USA Jobs, and it changes every week to 2 weeks. And we encourage you to monitor. Unfortunately, there are not too many entry-level positions here. However, recently, it might still be on there. If you go to our website, there might be some internship opportunities right now that we're looking for the summer for the Secret Service. I hope it's still on there. I know it was on there earlier in the week when I was in North Carolina, but I would encourage you to check for those that are interested in that. But again, administrator jobs, more so senior level positions. For example, I did 22 years in the Marine Corps, 16 on recruiting duty. Hence, I was able to secure this position as a recruiter. Our HR, IT positions are going to be in that GS13, GS14, so senior level. If for military folks on here, that'll probably a GS13 is equivalent to a major lieutenant colonel. For my college students with no military affiliation, that's basically senior executive type of senior level experience in regards to this. But we do have some that may not require that much experience. We just encourage you to monitor USA Jobs. Same thing applies here in regards to the requirements. U.S. citizen, no visible tattoos. I don't have any tattoos on my hands, neck, or face. If I'm going to represent the agency, I'm not going to have anything where I'm not allowed to. I have a TS clearance. It all depends. You could have a TS clearance non-poly or a TS clearance with poly. So it all depends on the position that you're going to get into will determine whether you're going to be polyed or not. And then obviously meet the educational and the professional work experience for that position that you're applying to. Please, I'm going to go back to the law enforcement. Uniform Division Special Agent, law enforcement or military is not a requirement to do that job. We are looking for great fine Americans willing to serve their country. Again, law enforcement or military is not a requirement for the uniform division or special agent. We will teach you everything you need to do and know. All right. Veterans, if I won't spend too much time here, but if I have veterans on the call, military spouses, military affiliated, again, thank you for your service. If you're about to transition, because you're doing the school online, upload your statement of service, ask your administrative section, S1, N1, and ask them for the statement of service, and make sure they have all your information on there to include your campaign medals if you have any deployment times, or have your VA letter or your DD-214. All right, that's going to be a requirement. Again, not a requirement being in the military, but if you have veterans preference, you want to make sure you share that to get the position. Will it help you? It'll definitely help you if you apply for admin jobs with the preference. But again, for law enforcement, it'll be not a necessary requirement, but obviously you want to identify yourself as a veteran, but again, not necessarily a requirement. We are about 21% veterans in the agency, slowly growing. So again, we are military affiliated government agency. A lot of veterans join the Secret Service. Benefits, competitive salary. The uniform division salary is roughly north of $70,000 a year. The special agent, criminal investigator one position is you'll be considered for GL 7, 9, or 11. And then the star special agent, you'll only be considered for the GL 7. All right. So again, the star, you only be considered for one pay grade. For the special agent one, if you feel as if you have 3, 4, 5 years of experience, life experience, professional experience, and a 4-year degree, maybe a little bit of military, or maybe no military, and maybe some professional experience working, you could utilize that and maybe get considered for the special agent GL9. If you have law enforcement or criminal investigation, maybe you get considered for the GS11. Great pay. It all depends on locality pay, on what you will get paid as a special agent. But special agents also get LEAP pay, law enforcement and availability pay. That's basically 25% on top of your salary. All right. Annual leave, obviously, you got sick leave, paid holidays, tuition assistance. The Secret Service will pay up to $60,000 and $10,000 for 6 years. So there is no obligation, no contract to be in the Secret Service. However, if you take the money for college, there is going to be some type of contract in that regard. So again, if you join without taking the money for school, you're fine. If you want to leave after 2 years, you can. But if you join and you take the $10,000, you're going to have to obviously pay that back or fulfill your time. All right, public transportation incentive, more so in the DC area, child care subsidy. So again, there are a lot of great benefits to that. The TSP, that's basically thrift savings plan. That's a 401k for those that have no military affiliation or federal government. A TSP is basically your 401k. The federal government will match up to the first 5%. So again, you're working on your retirement. You have a stable job, a stable career. And if you do law enforcement, if I just may stress to you, I'm retired military. I get a pension now for being retired military, but let's just hypothetically say everyone here is 25 years old. If you're 25 years old and you are in a gun carrier, not just the Secret Service, but all federal law enforcement across the board, and you're 25 and you did 25 years as a gun carrier for the Secret Service, you could retire at age 50 and immediately collect your retirement at age 50. All right. Immediately collect your retirement from age 50 to, until you're 50, 60 something years old, you will collect Social Security supplemental. I don't have the exact math on that. It all depends how much time you serve, but you will receive a supplemental from Social Security as soon as you retire. And you can start working another career. All right. Arizona. All right. So Arizona Cardinals. If you went back to Arizona, you could be head of security for the Arizona Cardinals. Your resume will speak to 25 years of law enforcement, whether uniform division or special agent for the United States Secret Service, and from the great school of the University of Arizona Global Campus. And then obviously, who's not going to hire you to be head of security for, let's say again, if Hometown USA's Phoenix, the Arizona Cardinals. A great opportunity there. You basically write your own ticket. All right. For me, as a retired veteran, I collect a pension, and if I did federal government as a non-gun carrier, I am not able to collect my pension until I'm 62, regardless if I did 25 years or whatnot. So again, that 25 years, regardless of age, only applies to our gun carrier position. So again, it's great opportunity. Application process. So a resume in federal format, believe it or not, should be 3 to 5 pages long. A lot of folks say, Elmer, a resume should only be 1 to 2 pages. That could be true in a setting of possibly maybe corporate America, a non-federal job. But if you want a federal job, if you apply to uniform division and special agent, you should have 2 different resumes. And those 2 different resumes should be tailored to each job announcement. If you were to apply to the special agent for FBI, DEA, Secret Service, you should have 3 different resumes, and the resume should be tailored to the details of the job announcement. In the job announcement, there's a portion that says how you will be evaluated. For our JOAs, at least, JOAs meaning job announcement. And in those job announcements for uniform and special agent, we'll have 5 bullet points. I would highly recommend you thoroughly review it all and then make sure you have those keywords on your resume. A lot of folks will go to USA Jobs, they look at the job title, the location, the amount of money they could potentially make, and they click apply without reading the details of the job announcement. And then lo and behold, they're not even age qualified to apply for the position. So please take the time to read the job announcement. And if you are required, you meet all the requirements, take time again to read it, because you will be able to use the details of the job announcement to add to your resume. That middle column there says preview questionnaire. So I was just talking about the how you will be evaluated portion. In that same section for our job announcement, there's a hyperlink that says preview questionnaire. If you click on that, it'll take you to it's just like hitting the apply button, but the preview is the side door access. So if you see me looking to my left, you're right. That's probably because I'm looking at my other screen. So if you have 2 screens or even 3 screens, you could have the job announcement on one, you could have the questionnaire on another, and then you could have USA Jobs or Microsoft Word document on the other screen. And now you're looking at the job announcement, you're looking at the questionnaire, and you're plugging and playing information to and from your resume. It's a great way to do it. And the uniform division questionnaire is, I think, 72 questions, and the special agent one is 104. So I just like to share one or maybe a couple of questions with you. So one of them, both of them will state an applicant, and these are yes or no's. The one I'm going to talk to you about, a yes or no. An applicant cannot be colorblind. Not a question, it's a sentence. An applicant cannot be colorblind. All right. A lot of folks will see that. And I only share this because it happens all the time, at least once or twice or 3 times a month. An applicant cannot be colorblind. The way I would see that, if I was moving quickly, right? I'll use me as an example. If I saw that an applicant cannot be colorblind, I would answer no, I'm not colorblind. I'm going to move on to the next one because I have 101 more to review. But if I stopped and read the whole question, my answer would change. An applicant cannot be colorblind. An applicant must have sufficient color vision. Now here comes the question. Do you have normal color perception? So the correct answer, if it applies, should be a yes. If it's a yes, then you will continue on in the hiring process because there's a system that grades you. If you didn't read the entire question, answered no, you basically self-selected yourself out of the hiring process, and you will not move forward, and your application will be basically terminated. So please, I can't stress enough, take the time to read the job announcement. Another quick question, what is your experience in reviewing errors and inconsistencies? All right. If you don't see that blurb on the job announcement, I might want to talk about me reviewing for errors or inconsistencies in my resume, whether I'm a manager at Target. All right. My wife loves Target. So if I'm a manager at Target and I manage, and obviously I'm going to discuss what I review or any inconsistencies and how I apply that, and maybe provide training and assistance to my employees. So again, utilize the information we provide you to tailor your resume in federal format using the job announcement and the questionnaire, if that makes sense. So again, please, all I'm trying to say is slow down, and you should be able to put a good product together. So that's the questionnaire piece. And again, if you, the right side there, if you have a college degree, great. If you don't, and if you're applying to the STAR program, you want to make sure you upload a transcript that shows that you have a 3.0, number one, but number two, that shows that you are in your last semester. So don't upload one from last year and you are in your last semester, but you don't provide the relevant documentation. So provide the relevant documents and obviously tailor your resume to the job announcement. Phases of the application process. The red obviously will indicate for law enforcement, but and it's basically what we just talked about. The only difference, well, the APAT stands for Applicant Physical Abilities Test. If you recall, we talked about the mile and a half run, the push-ups, the sit-ups, and the agility run. You will have an interview that's a panel interview. If you pass that interview, you will receive your conditional offer. And then you enter phase 2. And that's when we go through your background check, your credit check, polygraph if applicable, drug test, and then a background, a thorough background. And they will go back and ask your referrals that you list, and family members and things of that nature. All right. And then give you a final consideration for employment. And that whole process, ladies and gentlemen, could take anywhere from 6 months to a year. So we just like to kind of say 6 months to a year to give you an estimate on how long that will take. All right. So with that said, I wanted to give 15, 20 minutes for questions, but and I apologize in advance, or I apologize now for the few minutes of technical difficulties that I had. But thank you for being patient and hanging out during this presentation. So with that, I'll turn it back over to LaVonda, and I guess we can go over questions, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Elmer. That was very informative. And we had a few questions that we had students put in the chat, and we went ahead and moved to the Q&A. I think you answered a lot of them live, but there are a few questions. So one student asked about the age limit. I think you did go over that for the STAR program.
Yeah, well, the age for agent or officer, again, officer is 20 to 37. But if you have veterans preference, up to age 40. And then for special agent, whether STAR or special agent, it's the same thing, 21 to 37 or 40 if you're a veteran, if that makes sense.
So
and if you're like me, mission support, you could be, I'm not saying I'm old, I'll call myself old, I won't call you old, but or anyone old. But if for mission support, you have the skill set, the education and experience, you could apply all day, every day.
And is that true even if you're not a veteran? A student asks if they're over 40 but not a veteran. Does that mean that they are disqualified or they can still apply?
For the mission support?
I guess for administrative or any position.
Yep. Okay. Yes, ma'am. If you're over 40, veteran or not. Again, we're 21% veterans. You don't have to be a veteran. It just helps for the admin side because you have the preference, if that makes sense.
Yes, makes sense. Thank you for answering that. We had a question
Yes,
about a
ma'am.
green card. So a student said, I have a green card. Am I qualified?"
At this time, no, because most of our positions require a TS clearance, and a requirement for TS clearance is a U.S. citizenship. However, once you become a naturalized citizen, hopefully soon, you could apply to our positions.
That makes sense. Okay, thank you for answering that. So
Yes,
there's a
ma'am.
question about internships and entry-level positions that do not require the physical ability test. Are there any that apply to? Because the student asked, can you be hired without needing to pass the physical test?
Yeah, so our student internship positions do not require the physical fitness. So I'm looking on USA Jobs right now as we speak, and I am hoping that the student intern position are still available. I really hope so. It was open last week or earlier this week, but it may have closed already. And I'm having issues logging on. But you do not need any law enforcement. So again, the student intern positions are just like my job. All right. Um, I can go out there and maybe walk 3 miles. I'm not going to run it anymore, but you don't have to, as a student intern, you will not be required to do that. Not at all. You will not have to do any of the physical fitness. That is only for our gun carriers.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. There's a few questions about disabilities. So there's one, the student's asking about if they're a disabled veteran, are they able to sign up for specialty teams? And another question about they work with job seekers that have disabilities, whether it's physical or cognitive or mental, and they want to know, are there any accommodations or opportunities available for them?
Yes. So if we're talking about veteran disability, I am a veteran, and I'm a disabled veteran. All right. So you could be a disabled veteran, or have a disability, not be a veteran, and apply to any of our positions. We have a disabled person, deaf, and she was on our recruitment team, and awesome. One of the hardest workers I knew. She just left for a better opportunity with another agency, unfortunately. But you could be disabled, whether veteran, and if any special accommodations are needed, we will definitely do that. Absolutely.
Thank you for answering that.
And that goes for gun carrier or not. You could be a disabled veteran if you're able to conduct the physical fitness requirements. Let's say you got out of the military with a bum knee, a bad knee, but you can still run the 1.5 miles. And you will still be able to apply. Anyone can apply. We're not here obviously to discriminate. You could apply for the position, and if you meet the qualifications, you could definitely get brought on. Just know and understand, a lot of our administrative jobs are going to be in Washington, D.C.
Yes. So Elmer, we're closing up on some of the questions, but there was one about in the process, is there a requirement for your credit? I know that you mentioned a few different criteria. Is that one
Yes.
that, okay.
So TS clearance, they'll and so if you need my contact information, you can take a screenshot right there, but I'm going to back it up because right here, security interview and credit check. So we will do a credit check. That's a requirement for the TS clearance. So you could have bills and credit cards and things of that nature, just as long as you're current in all your payments. It's when you're delinquent and not making payments, then that there might be obstacles when we get to that point. But you can have credit cards and mortgages and things of that nature. You just have to be current, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you for answering that. I think we're closing up on the questions, but someone did ask, I think this is the second time, about do you foresee remote positions becoming available?
I would just encourage you to monitor USA Jobs for special agent and uniform division officer. Unfortunately, we cannot do that job remote, but for our mission support jobs, we can do those. Some could be remote. I was just at Fort Riley, Kansas, doing a recruitment there, I think 2 weeks ago. A young lady came to my booth. She showed me a job that she applied to, and she applied to a position that was 100% remote for a budget analyst. And that's what she did in the Army. She applied. I had her forward me her resume. I sent it to the hiring manager, and I hope she's being considered. So I could also be a point of contact. I can't promise you when you apply on USA Jobs, you do not have a point of contact. You don't have anyone to call. You have my contact information right there on the screen, my email, my QR code, my electronic leash. When I send you an email, you have my LinkedIn. Just know and understand a lot of the calls I field. I could help to a certain extent, but I can't answer the tough questions. And a lot of times the calls I get are obviously not good ones. Never that, thank you for helping me.
Well, I definitely want to encourage our students to go ahead and use the information that's on the screen. You can scan the QR code, and like Elmer said, you can reach out to him on LinkedIn. So connect with him if you do have some of those specific questions, because it is rare that you have someone that is willing to give their personal information and help you, with your journey and your application. So I do encourage students to do that. Let me see. I think we're coming up on the average timetable for application to job offer.
6 months to a year. So from application to final offer, we like to say 6 months to a year. The fastest I have seen it is 3 months long, but we like to just give the ballpark of 6 months to a year to apply for the position. I see someone asking about number of credits. So the bottom line is if you are in your last semester and you're going to graduate in May, I guess it all depends what the University of Arizona Global Campus, determines what is a senior. So if that's a 3.0 GPA and the school recognizes you're going to graduate in May, I guess it could be in that window of credit hours, if that makes sense. Because I guess that will vary. And then if you're concerned about it, just go to the registrar and get a letter. Registrar, sir, ma'am, can you provide me a letter stating that I'm in good standing with 3.0 GPA and on track to graduate May 2024 with my transcripts, and then upload that as your supporting evidence.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Elmer. So we are nearing the end of our session. And so I just want to remind you to connect with the U.S. Secret Service and other hiring organizations via Handshake or your student in your student portal, and keep an eye on Handshake and UAGC Connect for upcoming career service events. You'll receive a follow-up email with the recording of today's session and valuable information about careers at the U.S. Secret Service. And if you need further assistance with your resume, cover letter, or job search, please contact our career service team at careerservices@uagc.edu or via Handshake. Before you go, please take a moment to complete a quick confidential survey that will pop up at the end of this session. Your feedback will help us to plan for future events. Again, a big thank you to you, Elmer, from the Secret Service, for your valuable contribution today, and to all of our students and graduates. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate your participation, and we look forward to seeing you at our future career service events. Thank you very much, Elmer, and I hope that everyone has a great day.
Thank you. Have a good day. Have a good weekend coming up.